Get them out of here! They don't belong in this neighborhood!" The neighbor screamed from her lawn. The police grabbed Keisha's arm. "Ma'am, you need to come with us. We have a report of trespassing." The triplets screamed, terrified. Suddenly, a black car screeched to a halt. A door slammed. "Officer, unhand my wife immediately!" A deep voice boomed. A man in full dress blues with a chest full of medals walked up the driveway. The officers froze. "Colonel, we didn't know—" But before we dive into the full story, let me know where you're watching from and what time it is. Now subscribe to the channel and let's get started. "Mommy, is this really our house?" Maya pressed her small hands against the car window. Her brown eyes were wide with wonder. Keisha Thompson looked at her daughter through the rearview mirror and smiled. Her heart felt full. "Yes, baby, this is really our house." The minivan rolled slowly down Maple Drive. It was a hot Saturday morning in June. The sun was bright and high in the sky. Keisha could see her new house at the end of the street. It was a beautiful two-story colonial with white columns in the front. The yard was big and green. Trees gave shade along the sidewalk. This was Oakwood Hills, Virginia. This was home. Keisha parked the minivan in the driveway. Behind her was a big moving truck filled with all their belongings. She turned off the engine and sat quietly for just a moment. She was 32 years old. She had worked so hard for this moment. She grew up in Baltimore in a small apartment. Her parents worked in factories. They taught her to work hard and save money. She put herself through nursing school while working 2 jobs. Now she was a nurse at Georgetown University Hospital. She saved money for years to buy this house. "Can we get out now?" Jordan asked from the back seat. He bounced in his car seat. His twin brother Isaiah bounced too. "Yes, we can get out," Keisha said. She opened her door and stepped into the hot June air. Then she opened the sliding door of the minivan. The triplets unbuckled their seatbelts with her help. Maya, Jordan, and Isaiah were 3 years old. They jumped out of the van and ran toward the front door. They held hands as they ran. Their little feet made sounds on the concrete driveway. "Stay where I can see you," Keisha called out. She pulled the house keys from her purse. The keys were shiny and new. She walked to the front door. The triplets waited on the porch. They jumped up and down with excitement. Keisha put the key in the lock. She turned it and heard a click. The door opened. Cool air came from inside the house. The house smelled like fresh paint. Keisha stepped inside first. The living room was big and empty. Sunlight came through the windows and made bright squares on the wooden floor. "Wow," Maya whispered. The triplets ran inside. Their voices echoed in the empty rooms. They ran from the living room to the dining room. They ran down the hallway and back again. Their laughter filled the whole house. Keisha stood in the living room and looked around. Tears filled her eyes. These were happy tears. She had dreamed about this moment for so long. She thought about her husband, Marcus. He was a colonel in the United States Army. He worked at the Pentagon. Today he had important meetings he could not miss. He would come home tonight. Keisha wanted to start unpacking early. She wanted the children to settle in before bedtime. She wanted everything to be organized. That was how Keisha liked things. Organized and planned. "Okay, everyone," she said to the triplets. "Let me bring in some boxes. You 3 can help me." She walked back outside to the moving truck. The back door of the truck was already open. Inside were dozens of boxes. Some boxes said "kitchen" in black marker. Some said "living room" or "bedroom." Keisha grabbed a box marked "kitchen" and carried it inside. The box was heavy, but she was strong. She made trips back and forth between the truck and the house. Sweat formed on her forehead. Her purple t-shirt stuck to her back in the heat. The triplets tried to help. Maya carried a small box of toys. Jordan and Isaiah carried a bag of stuffed animals together. Mostly they got in the way, but Keisha did not mind. They were excited. That was what mattered. After several trips, Keisha set up a small area in the living room. She opened the box of toys and spread them on the floor. She found a folding table and set it up. "You 3 play here while I work," she said. "Stay in this room where I can see you." "Okay, Mommy," Maya said. She sat down with a stuffed bear. Keisha went back to work. She carried more boxes from the truck. She opened boxes in the kitchen and started putting away plates and cups. She hummed softly as she worked. She felt proud. She felt happy. This house represented everything she worked for. Her children would have their own bedrooms. They would have a backyard to play in. They would go to good schools in this neighborhood. Across the street, someone was watching. Donna Clark stood at her front window. She was a 48-year-old white woman. She had lived in Oakwood Hills for 20 years. She held her coffee cup and looked at the house across the street. She saw the black woman carrying boxes. She saw the 3 black children running around. Her face showed suspicion. Her eyebrows pulled together in a frown. Donna did not see any man with the family. Where was the husband? How could this woman afford a house in Oakwood Hills? Houses here were expensive, very expensive. Donna looked at the nice minivan in the driveway. She looked at the moving truck. Something felt wrong to her. She did not walk across the street. She did not knock on the door to introduce herself. She did not welcome the new family to the neighborhood. Instead, she continued watching from behind her curtain. Inside her house, Keisha continued unpacking. She did not know anyone was watching her. She opened another box and found cups and glasses. She started putting them in the kitchen cabinets. The triplets played with their toys in the living room. Their happy voices made Keisha smile. "Mommy, I'm hungry," Isaiah called out. "Me too," Jordan said. "Okay, I will make lunch soon," Keisha promised. She looked at her watch. It was 12:30 in the afternoon. Marcus would arrive around 7 o'clock that evening. She wanted to have dinner ready for him. She wanted the children's beds set up. She had so much work to do. She made more trips to the moving truck. The sun was very hot now. She wiped sweat from her face with her arm. Her muscles were tired, but she kept working. She carried a box marked bedroom upstairs to where the children would sleep. Across the street, Donna picked up her phone. She scrolled through her contacts. Her finger stopped on one name. She looked back out the window at Keisha. She looked at the children. She made a decision. Donna dialed 911. She held the phone to her ear and waited. Someone answered. Donna spoke in a serious voice. She told the dispatcher that suspicious people were breaking into the house next door. She said they were taking things out of a truck. She said it looked like they were stealing. She gave them the address on Maple Drive. Then she hung up and waited. 30 minutes passed. Keisha was in the kitchen making sandwiches for her children. She spread peanut butter on slices of bread. The triplets sat at a small folding table she had set up earlier. They drank juice boxes and ate crackers while they waited for lunch. "Mommy, when is Daddy coming home?" Maya asked. She kicked her feet under the table. Keisha smiled and walked over to kiss her daughter's forehead. "Tonight, baby. Daddy will be here tonight." "I miss Daddy," Jordan said. "I know, sweetie. He misses you too," Keisha said. She went back to making sandwiches. She felt good. The kitchen was starting to look organized. She had unpacked 3 boxes already. The cabinets had plates and cups now. The drawers had forks and spoons. Suddenly there was loud knocking at the front door. The sound was aggressive and sharp. It made Keisha jump. The knife in her hand dropped onto the counter. Her heart beat faster. She was not expecting anyone. Nobody knew they had moved in today except the real estate agent and Marcus. "Stay here," she told the children. She wiped her hands on a towel and walked toward the front door. The knocking came again, even louder this time. Keisha looked through the small window next to the door. 2 police officers stood on her porch. They wore dark blue uniforms and had serious expressions on their faces. Keisha felt confused. Why were police officers at her door? She thought maybe they came to welcome her to the neighborhood. Some police departments did that for new families. Or maybe they were checking to make sure everything was okay with the move. She opened the door with a friendly smile. "Hello, officers. Can I help you?" The taller officer looked at her with hard eyes. He had light brown hair and pale skin. His name tag said Bennett. "What are you doing in this house?" he asked. His voice was not friendly at all. Keisha's smile disappeared. She felt confused by the question. "I'm sorry, what do you mean?" "I asked what you are doing in this house," Officer Bennett repeated. His hand rested on his belt near his radio. "I just moved in this morning," Keisha said slowly. "I own this house. We just got here a few hours ago." Officer Bennett looked at the other officer. The second officer had the name Mills on his name tag. Officer Mills shook his head slightly. They did not believe her. "We need to see ownership papers immediately," Officer Bennett said. Keisha's heart was beating very fast now. Something was wrong. This was not a friendly welcome visit. "The ownership papers are packed in boxes somewhere," she explained. "I just moved in today. Everything is still in boxes, but I can show you my driver's license. It has this address on it." She started to reach for her purse on the table by the door. "Stop," Officer Mills said sharply. "A driver's license is not proof of ownership." "You need to leave this property right now," Officer Bennett added. Keisha could not believe what she was hearing. Her face felt hot. Her hands started to shake. "Why would I leave my own home?" she asked. Her voice got louder. "This doesn't make any sense. I own this house. I have the keys. I have documents. They're just packed away because I moved in today." "Ma'am, you need to calm down," Officer Mills said. He stepped closer to the door. "We received a report about squatters at this address. You need to come with us." "Squatters?" Keisha felt like she could not breathe properly. "I'm not a squatter. This is my house. I bought it. I closed on it 3 days ago." "Then you can show us the papers," Officer Bennett said. "I told you, they're in boxes," Keisha said. Her voice shook. She was frightened now. "I can look for them. Just give me a few minutes." "We don't have a few minutes," Officer Bennett said. "You need to leave the property now." "Mommy?" Keisha turned her head. Maya, Jordan, and Isaiah stood in the hallway behind her. They had heard the loud voices. Their small faces looked scared. Maya held her stuffed bear tight against her chest. "It's okay, babies," Keisha said. But her voice did not sound like everything was okay. "Go back to the kitchen." "Mommy, who are they?" Jordan asked. He pointed at the police officers. "How many people are in this house?" Officer Mills asked. "Just me and my 3 children," Keisha answered. She put her body between the officers and her children. "Please, just let me find the papers, or you can call the real estate company. They can confirm everything." "Ma'am, we need you to step outside now," Officer Bennett said. His voice was firm and cold. "No," Keisha said. "I'm not leaving my house. I didn't do anything wrong." Officer Mills moved quickly. He reached for Keisha's arm. "Don't touch me," Keisha said loudly. She tried to pull her arm away, but Officer Mills grabbed her firmly. "You're coming with us to the police station," he said. The triplets started crying. Maya screamed, "Mommy," over and over. Her voice was high and full of fear. Jordan and Isaiah ran forward. They tried to pull Officer Mills's hand off their mother. "Get back," Officer Mills said to the children. "Please let me call my husband," Keisha begged. Tears started running down her face. "He can explain everything. He's a colonel in the army. He works at the Pentagon. He can show you the papers. Please." "You can call him from the police station," Officer Bennett said. He moved toward the door, too. "Mills, get her outside now." "Please, my children," Keisha cried. "Don't do this in front of my children." But the officers did not stop. Officer Mills pulled Keisha toward the door. She had no choice. She could not fight them. She looked at her babies crying and screaming. Her heart broke. "Maya, Jordan, Isaiah, come with Mommy," she said through her tears. "Stay close to me." The officers walked Keisha down the front porch steps. Her legs felt weak. Officer Mills held her arm tightly. It hurt. The 3 children followed behind them. They were all crying. Their faces had tears and their voices were loud with fear. Keisha looked up and saw neighbors coming outside. People stood on their lawns watching. Some people held up their phones. They were recording videos. Keisha felt sick. Everyone was watching her. Everyone would see this. They would think she was a criminal. They would think she did something wrong. More tears ran down her face. She could not stop them. This was supposed to be the happiest day. They were supposed to start their new life in their new house. Now everyone was staring at her while police officers walked her down her own driveway. Maya clutched at Keisha's shirt. Jordan and Isaiah held each other's hands. They stumbled on the driveway trying to keep up. "I knew it," a voice called out. Keisha looked across the street. A white woman with blonde hair stood on her lawn. Her arms were crossed. "I knew this family was trouble. I called the police. These people are criminals." Other neighbors looked at each other. Some whispered. An older man looked uncomfortable. A woman covered her mouth with her hand. "Please," Keisha said to the officers, "please don't do this." But they did not stop. They kept walking her toward the police car parked on the street. Suddenly, a young woman with red hair stepped off her lawn 3 houses down. She walked quickly toward them. "Stop!" the young woman yelled. "You need to stop right now." The young woman with red hair walked quickly toward the officers and Keisha. She was breathing hard. Her face was red from rushing. "There's a mistake here," she said loudly. "A big mistake." Officer Bennett turned to look at her. He did not let go of Keisha's arm. "Ma'am, you need to step back. This is police business." "No, you need to listen to me," the young woman said. She pointed at the house with the white columns. "I live 3 houses down. My name is Emily Davis. Last week I met the real estate agent who sold that house. She told me a military family was moving in today. This family is supposed to be here." Keisha felt a small bit of hope. Someone believed her. Someone was trying to help. "Please," Keisha said to the officers, "please listen to her. She's telling the truth." Officer Mills shook his head. "Ma'am, we need you to step back right now or you will be arrested for interfering with police work." Emily's hands were shaking, but she did not move away. "I can call the real estate agent right now. I have her number in my phone. She can confirm this family owns the house." She pulled her phone from her pocket and held it up. "Step back," Officer Mills repeated. His voice was harder now. "This is your last warning." Emily looked at Keisha. Their eyes met. Keisha saw sympathy and anger in Emily's face. "I'm so sorry this is happening to you," Emily said softly. "She doesn't know what she's talking about," Donna yelled from across the street. Her voice was high and loud. "I've lived here for 20 years. 20 years. I know when something is wrong in this neighborhood." Some of the neighbors standing on their lawns nodded. They seemed to agree with Donna. Others looked uncertain. They shifted their weight from one foot to the other. They did not know what to think. An older white man with gray hair stepped forward from his lawn 2 houses down. His name was George. He had served in the military many years ago. "Maybe the officers should check the public records first," George said. His voice was calm and reasonable. "Before removing anyone from their home. That seems like the right thing to do." Officer Bennett ignored him completely. He continued walking Keisha toward the police car. Officer Mills walked on the other side. Maya, Jordan, and Isaiah followed behind. They were still crying. Their small voices called out, "Mommy! Mommy!" between sobs. A white woman named Patricia, who lived next to George, spoke up. She wore a yellow dress and had kind eyes. "That woman looks like a nice mother. Maybe this is just a misunderstanding. Maybe we should give her a chance to prove she lives there." "People are too trusting these days," Donna said sharply. She walked to the edge of her lawn. She was closer to the street now. "That's the problem with this country. Everyone is too trusting. Crime is going up everywhere. We need to be careful. We need to protect our neighborhood." She looked directly at Keisha when she said the word, careful. Her meaning was clear. She thought Keisha was dangerous because Keisha was black. Keisha felt sick to her stomach. She wanted to scream. She wanted to tell all these people that she worked hard her whole life. She put herself through nursing school. She saved money for years. She earned this house. But she could not speak. Her throat felt tight. The tears would not stop. Maya buried her face in Keisha's shirt. The little girl's whole body shook with crying. Jordan and Isaiah held each other's hands so tight their knuckles looked pale. They had never seen their mother like this. They had never been so scared. Keisha thought about Marcus. She wished so badly that he was here. Would this be happening if Marcus was standing next to her? Would these officers believe her if her husband was here in his army uniform? The officers reached the police car parked on the street. Officer Bennett reached for the back door handle. Keisha's heart was racing. They were really going to put her in a police car. They were really going to take her away from her house, her own house that she bought with money she saved. "Please think about my children," Keisha said. Her voice broke. "They're only 3 years old. They're scared. Please don't do this to them." "You should have thought about that before you broke into this house," Officer Mills said. "I didn't break in," Keisha cried. "It's my house." Emily took several steps closer. "I really think you should check the records. This seems wrong." "Final warning," Officer Mills said to Emily. "Step back or you're going to jail too." Emily's face showed fear, but also anger. She took one step back, but she did not leave. She stayed there watching. Her phone was still in her hand. George also stayed on his lawn watching. Patricia stood next to him. Several other neighbors recorded everything on their phones. The videos would probably be on the internet soon. Everyone would see Keisha being taken away by police officers while her children cried. Keisha closed her eyes for a moment. This could not be real. This had to be a nightmare. In a minute she would wake up and everything would be fine. But when she opened her eyes, the officers were still there. The neighbors were still watching. Her children were still crying. "Mommy, I'm scared," Isaiah said. His voice was so small and broken. "I know, baby," Keisha said. "It's going to be okay. Daddy will fix this." But she was not sure that was true. She was not sure of anything anymore. Officer Bennett opened the back door of the police car. The inside looked dark and cold. Keisha's whole body started shaking. She did not want to get in that car. She did not want to leave her children. Donna stood on her lawn with her arms crossed. She looked satisfied. She looked like she had done something good, like she had protected everyone. She did not look at Keisha's crying children. She did not seem to care. Some neighbors started walking back toward their houses. They did not want to watch anymore. Or maybe they felt uncomfortable. Maybe they knew this was wrong but did not want to get involved. Emily stayed. George stayed. Patricia stayed. Their faces all showed concern and confusion. Keisha looked down at her children. She tried to smile through her tears. She tried to be strong for them. But she felt completely powerless. She had lost control of everything. Officer Bennett put his hand on Keisha's head to guide her into the back of the police car. Then the sound of a car engine roared down Maple Drive. Everyone turned to look. A black SUV was coming down the street very fast. It had special license plates, Pentagon license plates. The SUV made a loud noise as it stopped suddenly right in front of Keisha's house. The tires made marks on the street. The driver's door flew open. A tall black man stepped out. He wore a full army dress uniform. The uniform was perfectly pressed. His shoes were shined so they reflected light. On his shoulders were the rank insignia of a colonel. His chest was covered with medals, a bronze star, a purple heart, ribbons of many colors that showed years of service. He was 6 feet 3 inches tall with broad shoulders and a commanding presence. His face showed shock and rage when he saw what was happening. This was Colonel Marcus Thompson. He walked toward the officers with long, powerful steps. His voice was loud and filled with authority. "Release my wife immediately!" Officer Bennett and Officer Mills froze. Their eyes went to the uniform. They saw the rank on the shoulders. They saw the medals on the chest. Their hands dropped from Keisha immediately. Keisha did not wait. She ran to Marcus. He wrapped his arms around her and held her tight. She pressed her face against his chest and sobbed. Her whole body shook. "Daddy!" Maya screamed. All 3 children ran to their father. Their little legs moved as fast as they could. They crashed into his legs and grabbed onto him. They were crying, but now the tears were different. They were relief tears. Marcus kept one arm around Keisha. He knelt down with his other arm and pulled all three children close. "It's okay now," he said to them. His voice was softer when he spoke to his children. "Daddy's here. Everything is going to be okay." Maya buried her face in his uniform. Jordan and Isaiah held onto his arms. They would not let go. Marcus stood back up. He looked at the two officers. His eyes were hard like steel. His jaw was tight. When he spoke again, his voice had the tone of a commanding officer, a tone that expected immediate obedience. "I need your badge numbers. Now." Officer Bennett's face had turned pale. "Sir, we were just responding to a call." "I did not ask for an explanation," Marcus interrupted. "I asked for your badge numbers. Give them to me now." Officer Bennett's hands shook slightly. "Badge number 7249. Badge number 8135, Officer Mills said quietly. "What is the name of your supervisor?" Marcus demanded. "Sergeant Williams," Officer Bennett said. "And who is your chief of police?" "Chief Robert Patterson," Officer Mills answered. Marcus pulled out his phone. He opened an app and started typing. His fingers moved quickly across the screen. He was taking notes, recording everything. "Tell me exactly why you were removing my family from our own property," Marcus said. He looked directly at Officer Bennett. Officer Bennett cleared his throat. "Sir, we received a 911 call. Someone reported squatters at this address. We were responding to that call. Did you verify ownership before attempting to remove my family?" Marcus asked. There was silence. Officer Bennett looked at Officer Mills. Officer Mills looked at the ground. "Answer the question," Marcus said. His voice got louder. "Did you verify ownership?" "No, sir," Officer Bennett finally admitted. "We did not." "Why not?" "The woman, your wife, could not produce ownership documents immediately," Officer Mills said. Marcus's jaw clenched tighter. A muscle in his cheek moved. "Ownership documents are public record. They are available on any police computer. The search takes approximately 30 seconds. Did you check the public records?" "No, sir," Officer Bennett said again. He looked down. "Why not?" Marcus repeated. "You were trained to verify information before taking action. That is basic police procedure. Why did you not follow your training?" Neither officer answered. "I will tell you why," Marcus said. His voice was cold and clear. "You saw a black woman who could not immediately produce papers. You assumed she did not belong in this neighborhood. You assumed she was a criminal. You did not check records because you had already decided she was guilty. You targeted my family because of the color of our skin." "No, sir, that's not," Officer Bennett started. "Do not lie to me," Marcus said. "I have served this country for 15 years. I have commanded soldiers in combat zones. I know when someone is lying. You racially profiled my family. You violated our constitutional rights. You traumatized my wife and my 3-year-old children." The neighbors who were still watching stood completely silent. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. Every eye was on Marcus and the two officers. Emily stood on her lawn with tears in her eyes. George stood with his arms crossed, nodding slowly. Patricia had her hand over her heart. She looked sad and angry at the same time. Donna had been standing at the edge of her lawn. Now she tried to walk backward toward her house. She moved slowly, hoping nobody would notice. "Stop right there," Marcus called out. His commanding voice carried across the street. Donna froze. She looked like a deer caught in headlights. "Who called 911? Marcus asked the officers. He did not take his eyes off Donna. Officer Bennett pointed across the street. That woman, Donna Clark. Marcus turned his full attention to Donna. He was very tall and she was short. He walked toward her with slow, deliberate steps. Each step had purpose and power. Donna's face turned white. She looked around for help, but nobody moved. Marcus stopped at the edge of her lawn. He looked down at her. "You called the police on my family?" Donna's mouth opened, but no sound came out at first. Then she said in a shaky voice, I saw people going in and out and I didn't know. You did not know, so you assumed we were criminals, Marcus said. You did not walk across the street to introduce yourself. You did not ask questions. You immediately called the police and reported a false crime. Do you understand what could have happened? I was just being cautious, Donna said weakly. Cautious, Marcus repeated. The word sounded sharp when he said it. Let me tell you what your caution almost did. My wife could have been killed. Black people have died in situations exactly like this one. Officers arrive expecting criminals. Situations escalate. People die. Do you understand that? Your false report could have gotten my wife killed. Donna's eyes were wide. She looked terrified. I didn't mean... Filing a false police report is a crime in the state of Virginia, Marcus continued. You told the dispatcher that people were breaking in and stealing. That was a complete lie. You will face criminal charges. I will also file a civil lawsuit against you for emotional distress. You will be held accountable. Donna started to cry. But they were not the same kind of tears Keisha cried. These were tears of fear and self-pity. Marcus turned away from her. He walked back to where the officers stood. Keisha stood with the children wrapped around her legs. Marcus put his arm around his wife again. Here is what happens next, Marcus said to the officers. You will leave our property immediately. You will file a complete report about this incident. That report will include your failure to verify ownership and your decision to remove a family from their home without evidence. I will be filing a formal complaint with your department. I will also be filing a complaint with the Department of Justice for civil rights violations. Sir, we were just doing our jobs, Officer Mills said. His voice was almost pleading. No, Marcus said firmly. You were not doing your jobs. Your job is to protect and serve all citizens. Your job is to verify information before taking action. Your job is to treat everyone with equal respect regardless of race. You failed at every part of your job today. He pulled out his phone again. He scrolled through his contacts. Last month I was at the Pentagon for a national security conference. I briefed several law enforcement officials, including your Chief of Police, Robert Patterson. Chief Patterson and I discussed terrorism threats and military cooperation with local police departments. He knows me well. He respects my work. Officer Bennett's face turned completely white. All the blood seemed to drain away. Officer Mills closed his eyes and took a deep breath. I am going to call Chief Patterson right now, Marcus said. He held up his phone so they could see. I am going to tell him exactly what happened here today. I am going to tell him that 2 of his officers removed a military family from their legal residence without verification. I am going to tell him that his officers traumatized 3-year-old children. Please, sir, Officer Bennett said. His voice cracked. We made a mistake. We're sorry. Sorry is not enough, Marcus said. Marcus pressed a button on his phone. He held it up so the officers could see the screen clearly. This is Chief Patterson's direct number. I have called it before. He gave it to me personally. Officer Bennett held up both hands. Sir, please, we apologize. We made a serious mistake. We should have checked the records first. We know that now. You knew that before you arrived at my home, Marcus said. His voice was steady but filled with anger. You were trained to verify information. You chose not to follow that training. Why? Neither officer answered. I will tell you why, Marcus continued. You saw my wife. You saw the color of her skin. You made an assumption. You decided she did not belong in this neighborhood. You decided she was lying when she told you the truth. That is called racial profiling. That is discrimination. That is a violation of our civil rights. Keisha stood next to Marcus with her arms around the triplets. Tears still ran down her face, but she was not sobbing anymore. She felt Marcus's strength next to her. She felt protected now, but the fear and humiliation were still inside her body. Her hands still shook. We really are sorry, Officer Mills said. He looked genuinely upset. We should have handled this differently. Yes, you should have, Marcus said. You should have asked my wife for identification. You should have checked the public records on your computer. That would have taken 30 seconds. Instead, you grabbed her and tried to force her from her own home. You did this in front of her children. You traumatized 3-year-old babies. Maya, Jordan, and Isaiah pressed against their parents. Their crying had stopped, but their faces were still wet. Their eyes were red and swollen. They looked exhausted and scared. "This is not just about following procedure," Marcus said. "This is about basic human dignity. This is about respect. If my wife was white, would you have acted the same way? Would you have grabbed her arm and dragged her from her house without checking if she was telling the truth?" The officers did not answer. The silence was answer enough. Marcus looked around at all the neighbors who were still watching. Some stood on their lawns. Some had moved closer. All of them were listening to every word. "This is Oakwood Hills, Virginia," Marcus said loudly. "This is supposed to be a good neighborhood, a safe neighborhood, but my family is not safe here. My family was attacked in our own driveway, not by criminals, by the people who are supposed to protect us." George, the older veteran, nodded his head. Patricia wiped her eyes. Emily stood very still, watching everything. Marcus turned his attention back to the officers. "I want you to understand something clearly. I am not just an angry husband and father. I am a colonel in the United States Army. I have resources, I have connections, I have knowledge of the law. I will use everything available to me to make sure this never happens to my family again. I will also make sure this never happens to another family." He held up his phone again. "I am going to call Chief Patterson today. I am going to file a formal complaint with your police department. I am also going to contact the Department of Justice. They have a division that handles civil rights violations. I know people there. I have briefed them on national security matters. They will take my call." Officer Bennett's face showed fear and shame. "Sir, we understand. We will face whatever consequences are appropriate. We just ask that you know we did not intend to harm your family." "Intent does not matter when harm is done," Marcus said. "My wife was harmed. My children were harmed. That is what matters." He pulled out his phone and opened the camera. "I am going to take photographs of both of you. I am documenting everything that happened here today." Marcus took several photos of each officer. He made sure to capture their faces and their badge numbers clearly. The officers stood still and let him do it. They did not try to stop him. Then Marcus turned toward Donna's house. Donna was standing very still on her lawn. Her arms were wrapped around herself. She looked small and frightened. "You," Marcus said. He pointed at her. "Come here." Donna shook her head quickly. "I need to go inside." "I said come here," Marcus repeated. His commanding voice carried across the street. "Now." Donna's feet seemed to move against her will. She walked slowly toward Marcus. She stopped several feet away. She would not look him in the eyes. "Look at me," Marcus said. Donna slowly raised her eyes. She looked at Marcus's face. Then her eyes dropped to all the medals on his chest. "Do you see these medals?" Marcus asked. "This bronze star is for heroic achievement in combat. This purple heart is for wounds I received while serving our country. I have bled for the United States of America. I have risked my life to protect the freedoms we all enjoy. That includes your freedom." Donna's lips trembled. She did not speak. "My wife is a registered nurse," Marcus continued. "She works in the intensive care unit at Georgetown University Hospital. She saves lives. She works 12-hour shifts taking care of sick people. We both serve this country in different ways. We work hard. We follow the law. We saved money for years to buy this house. We earned the right to live here." A tear ran down Donna's cheek. "But you saw us, and you assumed we were criminals," Marcus said. "You did not knock on our door. You did not introduce yourself. You did not ask a single question. You called 911 and you lied. You told the dispatcher that people were breaking in and stealing. That was completely false. You filed a false police report. That is a crime." "I thought—" Donna started to speak, but her voice broke. "You thought what?" Marcus asked. You thought a black family could not afford to live in this neighborhood? You thought we were dangerous? You thought we did not belong here?" Donna covered her face with her hands. She was crying now. But Marcus did not feel sympathy for her. "You put my family in danger," Marcus said. His voice got quieter but somehow more intense. "Police encounters can turn deadly very quickly. Black people die during police encounters all the time. Sandra Bland, Philando Castile, Breonna Taylor. The list goes on and on. Your false report could have gotten my wife killed. Do you understand that?" Donna sobbed into her hands. "Filing a false police report is a misdemeanor in Virginia," Marcus said. "You will be charged. I will make sure of it. I will also file a civil lawsuit against you for emotional distress and damages. You will be held accountable for what you did today." Donna looked up at him with wide, frightened eyes. "Please, I'm sorry. I made a mistake." "Your mistake traumatized my children," Marcus said. "Your mistake humiliated my wife in front of everyone. Actions have consequences. You will face those consequences." He turned away from Donna and walked back to where Keisha stood with the children. He put his arm around his wife and looked at the two officers. "Get off my property," Marcus said. "Both of you, leave now. You will be hearing from my attorney. You will also be hearing from the Department of Justice." Officer Bennett and Officer Mills walked quickly back to their police car. They did not look at anyone. They got inside and closed the doors. The engine started and the car drove down Maple Drive. It turned at the corner and disappeared. The neighbors stood in silence for a few moments. Nobody seemed to know what to say or do. Then slowly, some of them started walking toward the Thompson family. Patricia was the first to reach them. She had kind eyes and wore a yellow dress. She looked at Keisha with sadness on her face. "I am so sorry for what happened to you," Patricia said. Her voice was gentle. "That was wrong, completely wrong. I'm Patricia Chen. I live right over there." She pointed to a house 2 doors down. Keisha nodded but could not speak yet. Her throat felt tight. George walked over next. He was the older man with gray hair who had spoken up during the incident. He extended his hand to Marcus. Marcus shook it. "George Williams," the older man said. "I served in the Navy for 20 years. I retired as a commander. What those officers did was disgraceful. You and your family should never have been treated that way." "Thank you," Marcus said. His voice was still tense. "Welcome to the neighborhood," George said. Then he looked at Keisha. "Ma'am, I apologize that your first day here was like this. Most of us are good people. I hope you'll give us a chance to prove that." Emily, the young woman with red hair, approached carefully. She looked at Keisha with tears in her eyes. "Hi, I'm Emily Davis. I live 3 houses down in the blue house," she said. "I am so sorry I couldn't do more to stop them. I tried, but they wouldn't listen to me." Keisha finally found her voice. It came out rough and quiet. "You tried. That's more than most people did. Thank you for speaking up. If you need anything at all, please call me," Emily said. She pulled out her phone. "Can I give you my number?" Keisha pulled out her own phone with shaking hands. Emily gave her the number and Keisha saved it. "I mean it," Emily said. "Anything. If you need groceries or help with the kids or just someone to talk to, I work from home so I'm always around." "Thank you," Keisha whispered. A few other neighbors came over to introduce themselves. They all apologized. They all said welcome to the neighborhood. But some neighbors did not come over. They went back inside their houses and closed their doors. They did not want to get involved. Donna stood alone on her lawn for a moment. She watched everyone talking to the Thompson family. Nobody looked at her. Nobody walked over to check on her. She turned and walked quickly into her house. The door slammed shut behind her. Marcus noticed. His jaw was still tight. He was still angry. But right now, he needed to take care of his family. "Thank you all for the welcome," Marcus said to the neighbors gathered around. "We appreciate it. But right now, we need to get our children inside. They've been through a lot today." "Of course," Patricia said. "We understand. Again, We're so sorry." The neighbors walked back to their homes. Emily waved before she left. George nodded respectfully. Soon the street was quiet again. Marcus looked down at his 3 children. Maya had her face pressed against Keisha's leg. Jordan and Isaiah held hands and looked up at their father with wide, tired eyes. "Let's go inside our house," Marcus said gently. He picked up Maya. Keisha took Jordan's hand. Marcus took Isaiah's hand with his free arm. They walked together up the driveway and up the porch steps. They went inside and Marcus closed the door behind them. The house was full of unpacked boxes. The mess reminded Marcus that he was supposed to be here earlier. He was supposed to help with the move. If he had been here from the start, would any of this have happened? Would those officers have tried to remove his family if they saw him in his uniform standing in the driveway? The guilt hit him hard. He set Maya down gently and leaned against the wall. He closed his eyes for a moment. "Marcus," Keisha said softly. She touched his arm. "This is not your fault. I should have been here," he said. "I should have protected you." "You couldn't have known this would happen," Keisha said. "Nobody could have known." Marcus opened his eyes and looked at her. Her face still had tears on it. Her eyes were red and swollen. She looked exhausted and hurt. His strong, beautiful wife who worked so hard and never complained. She did not deserve what happened to her. "I'm going to make this right," he said. "I promise you." "I know," Keisha said. She leaned against him and he wrapped his arms around her. The triplets sat on the floor near their parents. They were very quiet. Too quiet for 3-year-old children. The incident had affected them deeply. "Are you 3 hungry?" Keisha asked them. She tried to sound normal and cheerful. "I was making sandwiches before. Let me finish making lunch." She walked to the kitchen. Marcus watched her go. Then he pulled out his phone and walked to the living room. He had calls to make. First he called the chief of police. The phone rang 4 times and then went to voicemail. "Chief Patterson, this is Colonel Marcus Thompson. We met last month at the Pentagon Conference on National Security. I am calling about a serious incident that occurred today involving 2 of your officers. Officers Bennett and Mills responded to a false 911 call and attempted to remove my family from our legal residence without verifying ownership. They traumatized my wife and 3-year-old children. I will be filing a formal complaint. Please call me back at this number." He hung up and made another call, this time to his attorney. A woman named Jennifer Wu answered after 2 rings. "Jennifer, it's Marcus Thompson. I need your help with something urgent." He explained everything that happened. Jennifer listened carefully and asked questions. She told him to document everything. Take photos. Write down names and badge numbers. Save any videos that neighbors recorded. "This is a clear case of racial profiling and civil rights violations," Jennifer said. "We can file both criminal complaints and a civil lawsuit. I'll start preparing the paperwork." "Thank you," Marcus said. "I also need you to look into filing charges against the woman who made the false police report. Her name is Donna Clark." "I'll handle it," Jennifer promised. "I'm sorry this happened to your family, Marcus." Marcus hung up and made one more call. This one was to a contact at the Department of Justice, a man named William Rodriguez who worked in the Civil Rights Division. Marcus had briefed him on terrorism threats 2 years ago. They had stayed in touch. In the kitchen, Keisha tried to finish making sandwiches, but her hands would not stop shaking. The knife kept slipping. She put it down and gripped the edge of the counter. She took deep breaths, in and out, in and out. But the fear would not go away. She kept seeing Officer Mills grabbing her arm. She kept hearing her children screaming. She kept feeling all those eyes watching her in her own driveway. Marcus walked into the kitchen. He saw her standing at the counter with her head down. He came up behind her and gently placed his hands on her shoulders. "Let me help," he said. Together they finished making sandwiches. They sat at the small folding table with the triplets. The children ate slowly. Nobody talked much. The happy excitement from this morning was completely gone. After lunch, Keisha got the children settled in the living room with toys. She and Marcus sat on the floor surrounded by boxes. They needed to make a decision. "Do we stay?" Keisha asked quietly. "Or do we try to get our money back and move somewhere else?" Marcus thought for a long moment. "What do you want to do?" "I don't want them to win," Keisha said. Her voice was stronger now. "I don't want racists to decide where I can live. We earned this house. We saved for years. This is ours. I think we should stay." "I agree," Marcus said. "But I need to make sure you and the children are safe. That's my first priority." "What can we do?" Keisha asked. "Tomorrow morning, first thing, I'm installing security cameras," Marcus said. Marcus woke up early the next morning. The sun was just starting to come through the windows. It was Sunday. Keisha and the children were still asleep. He got dressed quietly and left the house. He drove to a store that sold security equipment. The store opened at 7 o'clock in the morning. He bought 4 security cameras. The cameras could record video all day and all night. They saved the videos to the internet so nobody could erase them. He also bought motion sensors for the front and back doors. He bought special lights that would turn on if anyone came near the house at night. When he got back home, Keisha was awake. She was making breakfast for the triplets. The children seemed quieter than usual. They stayed close to their mother. "I'm going to install these today," Marcus said. He showed her the cameras and equipment. "Good," Keisha said. She looked tired. Dark circles showed under her eyes. "I barely slept last night." "Me neither," Marcus admitted. He spent the morning installing cameras at every corner of the house. He put one camera at the front door, another at the back door, one on each side of the house. He climbed a ladder to mount them high on the walls. He made sure each camera had a clear view. Then he showed Keisha how to access the camera feed on her phone. She could watch the videos from anywhere. She could see who was near their house at any time. "This makes me feel a little better," Keisha said. She looked at her phone screen. She could see their front yard clearly. "If anything happens, we'll have evidence," Marcus said. "Nobody can say we're lying. The cameras will show the truth." That afternoon, Marcus called his attorney, Jennifer Wu, again. She asked him to come to her office the next day, Monday morning at 9 o'clock. Marcus agreed. The rest of Sunday passed slowly. The family stayed inside. They unpacked some boxes, but not many. The energy and excitement from Saturday morning were completely gone. Every time Keisha heard a car drive by, she looked out the window. Her body stayed tense all day. Monday morning arrived. Marcus put on his army uniform. He drove to Jennifer Wu's office in downtown Washington, D.C. The office was in a tall building with many floors. Jennifer's office was on the 15th floor. Jennifer was a woman in her 40s with black hair pulled back in a professional style. She wore a navy blue suit. She shook Marcus's hand and invited him to sit down. "Tell me everything that happened," Jennifer said. She had a notepad and pen ready. Marcus told her the whole story from the beginning. Keisha arriving with the children, unpacking boxes, the police arriving, Officer Bennett and Officer Mills trying to remove Keisha, the neighbors watching, Donna Clark admitting she called 911. Jennifer took notes the entire time. "This is a clear case of racial profiling," Jennifer said when he finished. "The officers violated your family's Fourth Amendment rights. They attempted to remove your wife from her home without probable cause. They did not follow proper procedure. They did not verify ownership even though it would have taken 30 seconds. "What can we do?" Marcus asked. "We can file a formal complaint with the police department," Jennifer said. "We can also file a lawsuit against the department for civil rights violations, and we can file criminal charges against Donna Clark for filing a false police report. We can also sue her personally for emotional distress." "I want to do all of it," Marcus said. His voice was firm. "It will take time," Jennifer warned. "These cases move slowly, but I believe we have a strong case, very strong." "I don't care how long it takes," Marcus said. "I want justice for my family." Jennifer nodded. "I'll start preparing the paperwork today. I'll keep you updated every step of the way." Marcus left the office feeling slightly better. At least things were moving forward. At least he was taking action. That same day, his phone rang at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. The caller ID showed it was Chief Robert Patterson from the Oakwood Hills Police Department. "Colonel Thompson, this is Chief Patterson returning your call," the voice said. "I am extremely sorry about what happened to your family. I heard the full report, and I am appalled." "Thank you for calling back," Marcus said. He kept his voice professional but cold. "I would like to meet with you in person if possible," Chief Patterson said. "I want to apologize face-to-face and discuss what actions we are taking." "When?" Marcus asked. "Would tomorrow work? Tuesday at 10 o'clock in the morning?" "I'll be there," Marcus said. Tuesday morning, Marcus drove to the Oakwood Hills Police Department. It was a brick building with an American flag out front. Inside, the walls were painted white and the floors were tile. Everything looked clean and official. Chief Patterson met him in the lobby. He was a white man in his 50s with gray hair. He wore his police uniform with his rank clearly displayed. He shook Marcus's hand firmly. "Colonel Thompson, thank you for coming," Chief Patterson said. "Please, come to my office." They walked down a hallway to a corner office. The chief closed the door behind them. He offered Marcus a chair and sat behind his desk. "First, let me say how deeply sorry I am," Chief Patterson began. "What happened to your family was unacceptable. Those officers failed in their duty. They failed to follow procedure. They failed to treat your wife with respect and dignity." Marcus listened but did not speak. "I have reviewed the incident thoroughly," the chief continued. "I have listened to the 911 call. I have read the officers' reports. I have spoken to witnesses. It is clear that Officers Bennett and Mills made serious errors in judgment." "Errors in judgment?" Marcus repeated. "They racially profiled my family. They tried to force my wife from her home without verifying she owned it. They traumatized my 3-year-old children." "You are absolutely right," Chief Patterson said. "That is why I am taking significant action. Officers Bennett and Mills are being suspended without pay for 2 weeks starting today. When they return, they will be required to complete 40 hours of training on racial bias, civil rights, and proper police procedure. They will also be on probation for 6 months. Any further violations will result in termination." Marcus sat back in his chair. "Is that all?" "I am also implementing new department-wide training," the chief said. "Every officer will complete bias training. We are reviewing our procedures for responding to property calls. We are making changes to prevent this from ever happening again." "This is a start," Marcus said slowly, "but it's not enough. I understand you are filing a formal complaint and possibly a lawsuit," the chief said. "That is your right. I will cooperate fully with any investigation. I want justice for your family just as much as you do." "I find that hard to believe," Marcus said, "but I appreciate you taking some action." "There is one more thing," the chief said. "Would you be willing to speak to our officers, share your experience, help them understand the impact of their actions? Sometimes hearing directly from someone affected makes a bigger difference than any training video." Marcus thought about it for a moment. "Yes, I'll do that. Not for the officers, for the next family that might face this situation." "Thank you," Chief Patterson said. Marcus left the police station feeling frustrated. The suspensions and training were something, but they did not feel like enough. His family had been hurt. His wife was suffering. His children were scared. 2 weeks suspension seemed too light. Back at home, Keisha was struggling. She tried to act normal for the children. She played with them in the backyard. She made meals. She read them stories. But inside, she felt anxious all the time. Her heart would start racing for no reason. She kept replaying the moment when Officer Mills grabbed her arm. On Wednesday, 3 days after the incident, she called Georgetown University Hospital. She spoke to her supervisor. "I need to take some personal days," Keisha said. "Something happened and I need time to process it." Her supervisor was understanding. She gave Keisha the rest of the week off. That same day, Keisha searched online for therapists. She found a woman named Dr. Sarah Johnson who specialized in trauma. Dr. Johnson had an opening on Thursday afternoon. Keisha made the appointment. Thursday at 2 o'clock, Keisha sat in Dr. Johnson's office. The office had comfortable chairs and soft lighting. Dr. Johnson was a black woman in her 40s with warm eyes and a kind smile. "Tell me what brought you here today," Dr. Johnson said gently. Keisha started talking. Once she started, she could not stop. All the fear and anger and pain came pouring out. She cried as she talked. She told Dr. Johnson everything: the move, the police, the neighbors watching, the humiliation, the fear. "I keep thinking I failed my children," Keisha said through tears. "They saw me being dragged away by police. They were so scared. What kind of mother lets that happen?" "You didn't let anything happen," Dr. Johnson said firmly. "You were a victim of discrimination and abuse of power. You protected your children as much as you could in an impossible situation. You survived. That takes strength." "I don't feel strong," Keisha whispered. "I feel broken." "You're not broken," Dr. Johnson said. "You're hurt. There's a difference. Hurt can heal, and we're going to work on that healing together." They talked for a full hour. When the session ended, Keisha felt a little lighter. Dr. Johnson scheduled another appointment for the following week. That evening, Keisha started researching online. She searched for information about racial bias in Oakwood Hills. She found articles about other incidents. She found 2 other black families who had problems in the neighborhood over the past 5 years. She reached out to both families through social media. One family had moved away. They said the discrimination got too bad. The other family, named the Johnsons, still lived in Oakwood Hills. They responded to Keisha's message right away. "We know exactly what you went through," Mrs. Johnson wrote. "We faced similar problems when we moved here 3 years ago. We'd love to talk to you." Keisha felt less alone knowing other families understood. On Friday afternoon, 5 days after the incident, the phone rang. Marcus answered it. "Is this Colonel Marcus Thompson?" a male voice asked. "Yes. Who is calling?" "My name is David Chen. I'm a reporter with the Oakwood Hills Gazette. I heard about what happened to your family on Saturday. I'd like to interview you for a story we're running." Marcus felt his stomach tighten. Their private trauma was about to become very public. Marcus held the phone tightly. He looked at Keisha, who was sitting on the couch with the triplets. She looked at him with questioning eyes. "Can I call you back in a few minutes?" Marcus asked the reporter. "I need to discuss this with my wife." "Of course," David Chen said. "I'll wait for your call." Marcus hung up and sat down next to Keisha. The children were playing with blocks on the floor. "That was a reporter from the local newspaper," Marcus said quietly. "He wants to interview us about what happened on Saturday." Keisha's face showed fear. "Interview us? You mean tell everyone what happened?" "Yes," Marcus said. "He wants to write a story about it." "I don't know if I can do that," Keisha said. Her voice trembled. "Everyone will see it. Everyone will know." "Everyone in the neighborhood already knows," Marcus said gently. They were standing on their lawns watching. Some of them recorded videos. Keisha knew he was right. She took a deep breath. "What do you think we should do?" "I think we should tell our story," Marcus said. "If we stay quiet, nothing changes. Other families will face the same discrimination. But if we speak up, maybe we can help prevent this from happening to someone else." Keisha thought about it. She thought about the other black families who had problems in Oakwood Hills. She thought about Mrs. Johnson, who reached out to her. She thought about her children growing up in a world where they might face the same treatment. "Okay," she said finally. "Let's do it." Marcus called David Chen back. They scheduled the interview for Saturday afternoon. 1 week after the incident happened, Saturday arrived. David Chen came to their house at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. He was a young man in his late 20s with dark hair and glasses. He carried a small recording device and a notebook. He seemed professional and respectful. "Thank you for agreeing to speak with me," David said. He sat in a chair across from Marcus and Keisha. The triplets were upstairs taking a nap. "We want people to know what happened," Marcus said. David turned on his recording device. Can you start from the beginning? Tell me everything that happened last Saturday. Keisha began talking. Her voice was soft at first, but grew stronger as she told the story. She described arriving at the house full of excitement and hope. She described unpacking boxes with her children. She described the knock at the door and the police officers not believing her. She described being grabbed and pulled from her home while her children screamed. Marcus watched his wife as she talked. He saw the pain on her face. He saw the tears forming in her eyes. He held her hand and gave her strength. How did you feel when the officers grabbed you? David asked gently. Terrified, Keisha said. I thought about all the black people who died during police encounters. I thought I might never see my children again. I thought my husband might come home and find me dead. David wrote notes quickly, then he turned to Marcus. Colonel Thompson, you arrived while this was happening. Can you describe what you saw? Marcus described seeing his wife being held by officers and his children crying. He described the rage and fear he felt. He described confronting the officers and Donna Clark. Why do you think this happened to your family? David asked. Because we are black, Marcus said simply. A white family moving into this neighborhood would never have been treated this way. Nobody would have assumed they were criminals. Nobody would have called the police. This was racial profiling. This was discrimination. What do you want to happen now? David asked. I want accountability, Marcus said. The officers need real consequences, not just a 2-week suspension. Donna Clark needs to face criminal charges, and the police department needs to make real changes so this never happens to another family. David interviewed them for over an hour. He asked about the children. He asked about their feelings. He asked what they wanted people to understand. When the interview ended, David thanked them. I'm going to talk to some other people too, the police department, some of your neighbors. I want to get a complete picture. Will you talk to Donna Clark? Keisha asked. I'll try, David said, but I'm not sure she'll speak to me. 3 days later, on Tuesday morning, the newspaper article was published. The headline was on the front page in large letters. Military family faces discrimination in Oakwood Hills. Marcus bought 5 copies of the newspaper at the store. He brought them home and he and Keisha read the article together. David Chen had written a detailed account of what happened. He included quotes from Marcus and Keisha. He described the incident clearly. He also included quotes from Emily Davis, who witnessed what happened and spoke up. He mentioned Donna Clark by name and explained that she had called 911 with a false report. The article also included a response from the Oakwood Hills Police Department. Chief Patterson said the officers had been suspended and would receive additional training. He apologized to the Thompson family. This is good, Marcus said as he read. This tells the truth about what happened. But Keisha felt nervous. Now everyone will know. She was right. By that afternoon, other newspapers had picked up the story. The Washington Post ran an article. The Richmond Times-Dispatch ran an article. Television news stations called asking for interviews. Marcus agreed to do a television interview. On Wednesday evening, he appeared on the local news. He wore his full army dress uniform with all his medals. He sat in a chair in the news studio and answered questions from the anchor. Colonel Thompson, what message do you want people to take from your family's experience? The news anchor asked. Marcus looked directly into the camera. Racial profiling is real. It happens every day in neighborhoods across America. It happens to hard-working families who have done nothing wrong. We need police reform. We need accountability. We need to teach people not to make assumptions based on skin color. The interview lasted 10 minutes. When it ended, the news station posted the video on their website and social media pages. By Thursday morning, the video had been shared thousands of times. People commented on the video. Most comments supported the Thompson family. People expressed outrage at what happened. People called for justice. But some comments were cruel and racist. Some people said Marcus and Keisha were making it about race when it was not. Some people said Donna had every right to call police if she felt suspicious. Some people used terrible language that made Keisha cry when she read it. "Don't read the comments," Marcus told her. "Those people don't matter." But Keisha could not help reading them sometimes. Each cruel comment hurt her heart. At Oakwood Properties, the real estate company where Donna Clark worked part-time, the owner, Michael Green, was reading the newspaper article. His face grew red as he read. He saw Donna's name. He saw that she worked for his company. He knew this was very bad for business. Michael picked up his phone and called Donna. She answered after 4 rings. "Hello? Donna? This is Michael Green. I need you to come to the office right now." "I'm not scheduled to work today," Donna said. "I know. Come anyway. We need to talk." Donna's stomach dropped. She knew what this was about. "Okay, I'll be there in 20 minutes." She drove to the office with shaking hands. When she arrived, Michael was waiting in his office. His face was stern. He did not smile or offer her a seat. "I read the newspaper article this morning," Michael said. "Is it true? Did you call the police on your black neighbors and file a false report?" Donna's face turned red. "I thought they were breaking in. I was trying to protect the neighborhood." "You assumed they were criminals because they are black," Michael said. "That is racist, and now our company name is associated with this story. We cannot have that." "It's not racist," Donna protested. "I would have called the police on anyone who looked suspicious." "A mother and 3 small children unpacking a moving truck looked suspicious to you?" Michael's voice was harsh. "You didn't even knock on their door to ask questions. You just called the police." Donna had no answer. "You filed a false police report," Michael continued. "That is a crime. You humiliated an innocent family. You traumatized 3-year-old children. And now this story is everywhere. People are calling our office asking if we support what you did." "I didn't mean for any of this to happen," Donna said. Tears ran down her face. "That doesn't matter," Michael said. "What matters is that you damaged our reputation. I'm sorry, Donna, but I have to let you go. You're fired, effective immediately." "Please," Donna begged. "I need this job. I need the money." "You should have thought about that before you made that phone call," Michael said. "Pack your desk. You need to leave now." Donna went to her small desk in the corner. Her hands shook as she put her belongings in a cardboard box. Other employees watched but did not speak to her. Nobody tried to stop her from leaving. Nobody said they were sorry. She carried the box to her car and drove home crying. When she got home, she found a letter in her mailbox. It was from the Virginia Commonwealth Attorney's Office. With shaking hands, she opened the envelope. The letter informed her that she was being formally charged with filing a false police report under Virginia Code Section 18.2-460. She had a court date scheduled for 6 weeks from now. She would need to appear before a judge. Donna sat in her car and cried harder. Everything was falling apart. Donna went inside her house carrying the letter. She read it 3 more times. Each time she hoped the words would be different, but they stayed the same. She was being charged with a crime. She needed a lawyer. She called her ex-husband, Stephen. He answered on the 3rd ring. "What do you want, Donna?" His voice sounded annoyed. "I need help," Donna said. "I'm being charged with a crime. I need money for a lawyer." "What did you do?" Stephen asked. Donna explained what happened. As she talked, she could hear Stephen's breathing change. He was getting angry. "You called the police on a black family for moving into their own house?" Stephen said. "Are you serious?" "I thought they were breaking in," Donna said weakly. "No, you didn't," Stephen said. "You assumed they were criminals because of their skin color. That's racist, Donna. I always knew you had those views, but I never thought you'd do something like this." "Will you help me or not?" Donna asked. "No," Stephen said. "You made this mess. You deal with it yourself. Don't call me again." He hung up. Donna stared at her phone. She felt completely alone. Over the next few days, the story continued to spread. The television interview with Marcus went viral on social media. By Friday, 1 week after it aired, the video had been shared over 100,000 times. News stations from other states picked up the story. Marcus received interview requests from CNN, MSNBC, and Fox News. He discussed it with Keisha. "Should I do more interviews?" Keisha thought about it. "I think you should. People need to hear this story. Maybe it will help create change." Marcus did 3 more television interviews that week. Each time he wore his uniform. Each time he spoke calmly and clearly about racial profiling and the need for police reform. "This is not just about my family," he said on CNN. "This is about every black family in America who has faced discrimination. This is about children who learn at age 3 that the police might hurt their mother instead of protect her. This is about a system that needs to change." The interviews made an impact. People started talking about racial bias in their own communities. Other black families came forward with their own stories of discrimination in Oakwood Hills and nearby towns. Keisha continued going to therapy with Dr. Sarah Johnson. Each week she felt a little bit stronger. The nightmares became less frequent. The anxiety was still there, but she was learning to manage it. She also reached out to the other black families who had experienced problems in Oakwood Hills. She met Mrs. Johnson for coffee at a local cafe. Mrs. Johnson was a woman in her 40s who worked as a teacher. "When we moved here 3 years ago, someone wrote terrible words on our garage door," Mrs. Johnson said. "The police said it was just kids being stupid. They never investigated properly." "That's horrible," Keisha said. "It is," Mrs. Johnson agreed. "But we refused to leave. We refused to let them win. And slowly, it got better. We found good neighbors. We found allies. But it took time." "I'm scared it will happen again," Keisha admitted. "Every time I hear a car outside, my heart starts racing." "That's normal," Mrs. Johnson said. "Trauma does that. But you have your husband. You have good neighbors like Emily and George and Patricia. And you have us, other black families who understand." Keisha felt grateful for the conversation. She was not alone. That evening, Keisha had an idea. She talked to Marcus about it while the children played in the living room. "I want to start a community group," Keisha said. "Something focused on addressing racial bias in Oakwood Hills. We could organize events. We could push for changes. We could create a support system for families who face discrimination." Marcus smiled. It was the first time since the incident that he saw real fire in his wife's eyes. She was transforming her pain into action. "I think that's a great idea," Marcus said. "How can I help?" "Help me find people who want to join," Keisha said. Over the next 2 weeks, Keisha reached out to neighbors and community members. She created a Facebook group called Oakwood Hills United. She wrote a description explaining that the group was for anyone who wanted to address racial bias and create a more welcoming community for all families. Emily Davis joined immediately. So did George Williams and Patricia Chen. The Johnsons joined. Several other families joined. Within 1 week, the group had 25 members. Keisha scheduled the first meeting for a Thursday evening at 7 o'clock. She reserved a room at the local library. She was nervous as the time approached. What if nobody came? What if people thought it was a bad idea? But when she arrived at the library at 6:45, people were already waiting. Emily was there with a notebook. George was there. Patricia was there. The Johnsons were there. Other faces she did not recognize were there too. By 7 o'clock, 12 people sat in the room. Keisha stood at the front. Her hands shook slightly, but her voice was strong. "Thank you all for coming," she said. "My name is Keisha Thompson. 3 weeks ago, my family experienced racial profiling and discrimination in our own driveway. The police tried to remove me from my own home because a neighbor assumed I was a criminal. My 3-year-old children watched it happen. The room was completely silent. Everyone listened. I learned that my family is not the first to experience discrimination in Oakwood Hills," Keisha continued. "Other black families have faced similar problems. This is not just about individual bad actors. This is about a pattern. This is about a community that needs to do better." She paused and looked around the room. "That is why I started this group. I want us to work together to create change. I want us to organize diversity training for police officers. I want us to host community events where people of all backgrounds can meet and talk. I want us to support families who face discrimination. I want Oakwood Hills to be a place where everyone feels safe and welcome." "I'm in," Emily said immediately. "What do you need from us?" "I need help organizing," Keisha said. "I need people to attend police department meetings and school board meetings. I need people to speak up when they see discrimination happening. I need allies." "You have us," George said. His voice was firm. "We're with you." The meeting lasted 2 hours. The group made plans. They scheduled another meeting for the following month. They created committees focused on different goals. Emily volunteered to handle social media. George volunteered to contact the police department about training. Patricia volunteered to organize a community picnic where families could meet. When the meeting ended, Keisha felt hopeful for the first time in weeks. She was not powerless. She could create change. Meanwhile, Donna was preparing for her court date. She had hired a lawyer named Richard Foster. He was expensive. She had to use most of her savings to pay his retainer fee. Richard reviewed her case and shook his head. "This is not good," he said. "You made a false statement to the police dispatcher. The 911 call is recorded. You said people were breaking in and stealing. That was completely untrue." "I thought it was true at the time," Donna said. "That doesn't matter," Richard said. "You made no effort to verify the information before calling. You just made an assumption and reported it as fact. That is what makes it a false report." "What will happen to me?" Donna asked. "Best case scenario, you pay a fine and get probation," Richard said. "Worst case, you could face jail time." Donna felt sick. "Jail time?" "It's possible but not likely for a first offense," Richard said. "But you need to understand how serious this is. You also need to know that the Thompson family is filing a civil lawsuit against you for emotional distress. That is separate from the criminal charges. You could end up owing them a lot of money." Donna put her head in her hands. Her life was falling apart. She had lost her job. She was spending all her savings on legal fees. Her neighbors would not speak to her. Her own ex-husband refused to help her. 6 weeks after the incident, the court date arrived. It was a Thursday morning at 9 o'clock. Donna wore a conservative blue dress and tried to look respectable. Richard met her at the courthouse. "Remember, let me do the talking," Richard said. "Answer questions directly and honestly. Do not make excuses." They walked into the courtroom. Donna's heart pounded. She looked around and saw Marcus and Keisha sitting in the gallery with their attorney Jennifer Wu. Donna quickly looked away. She could not meet their eyes. The judge entered the courtroom. Everyone stood. The judge was a black woman in her 50s named Judge Angela Martinez. She sat down and looked at the papers in front of her. "Case number CR 2023-0456, the judge said. "Commonwealth of Virginia versus Donna Marie Clark. The charge is filing a false police report under Virginia Code Section 18.2-460. How does the defendant plead?" Richard stood up. "Not guilty, Your Honor." Donna's eyes went wide. Richard had told her they would plead not guilty initially, but hearing it out loud made her feel terrible. She was guilty. She knew she was guilty. The prosecutor, a young woman named Amanda Price, stood up. "Your Honor, the Commonwealth is ready to present evidence." Judge Martinez nodded. "Proceed." Amanda played the 911 recording in court. Donna's voice filled the room. "Yes, I want to report suspicious people breaking into the house next door. They're taking things out of a truck. It looks like they're stealing." The words sounded even worse played in a courtroom. Donna wanted to disappear. Amanda then called Officer Ryan Bennett to testify. Officer Bennett walked to the witness stand. He placed his hand on the Bible and swore to tell the truth. He sat down and looked uncomfortable. Amanda Price approached him with a notepad. "Officer Bennett, you responded to the 911 call on June 10th of this year, correct?" Amanda asked. "Yes, ma'am," Officer Bennett said. "What did the caller report?" "She said people were breaking into a house and stealing items," Officer Bennett answered. When you arrived at the scene, what did you find? Officer Bennett shifted in his seat. We found a woman and 3 children. There was a moving truck in the driveway. The woman said she owned the house and had just moved in. Did you verify her claim of ownership? Amanda asked. No, ma'am, Officer Bennett admitted. I asked for ownership papers, but she said they were packed in boxes. Did you check the public records to verify ownership? No, ma'am. Why not? Officer Bennett was quiet for a moment. I should have. That was a mistake. Did you see any evidence of a break-in? Amanda continued. Broken windows, forced doors, anything that suggested criminal activity? No, ma'am, Officer Bennett said. The woman had keys to the house. She opened the door with her own key. So the report of people breaking in was false? Yes, ma'am, it was false. Amanda sat down. Richard stood up to question Officer Bennett. He tried to suggest that Donna had made an honest mistake, but his questions did not help much. The facts were clear. Next, Amanda called Keisha to testify. Keisha's hands shook as she walked to the witness stand. She swore to tell the truth and sat down. She did not look at Donna. Mrs. Thompson, can you tell the court what happened on June 10th? Amanda asked gently. Keisha took a deep breath. I arrived at my new house that morning with my 3 children. We were moving in. I was carrying boxes from the moving truck when the police arrived. They asked what I was doing in the house. I told them I owned it. They didn't believe me. What happened next? They tried to force me to leave. One officer grabbed my arm and pulled me toward their police car. My children were screaming and crying. I was terrified. Keisha's voice broke. I thought I might die. I thought I might never see my children again. Did you break into the house? Amanda asked. No, Keisha said firmly. I own the house. I bought it legally. I closed on it 3 days before that. I had every right to be there. Thank you, Mrs. Thompson, Amanda said. Richard tried to question Keisha, but there was nothing he could ask that would help Donna's case. The truth was simple. Donna had lied. Keisha was innocent. After Keisha stepped down, Amanda presented ownership documents showing that Keisha and Marcus Thompson were the legal owners of the house. She showed the closing documents dated 3 days before the incident. Everything was legitimate and legal. Finally, Judge Martinez asked Donna if she wanted to testify. Richard advised her not to. Donna sat silently at the defense table with her head down. Judge Martinez reviewed all the evidence. She looked at Donna with disappointment on her face. Ms. Clark, the evidence against you is overwhelming, Judge Martinez said. You called 911 and reported that people were breaking into a house and stealing. That report was completely false. The Thompson family was moving into their own home. They had every legal right to be there. You made no effort to verify your suspicions before making a false report to law enforcement. Donna's eyes filled with tears. This is a serious matter, the judge continued. False police reports waste law enforcement resources. They put innocent people at risk. In this case, your false report led to a traumatic experience for a mother and 3 young children. Your actions were harmful and reckless. The judge paused. I find you guilty of filing a false police report under Virginia Code Section 18.2-460. I sentence you to pay a fine of $5,000. You will also serve 1 year of probation. If you commit any similar offense during that year, you will face jail time. Do you understand? Yes, Your Honor, Donna whispered. This court is adjourned, Judge Martinez said. She hit her gavel on the desk. Donna stood up slowly. She felt numb. Richard packed up his briefcase and told her someone would contact her about paying the fine and reporting to a probation officer. Marcus and Keisha left the courtroom with Jennifer. In the hallway, Jennifer said, Now we move forward with the civil lawsuit. That trial will happen in about 6 months, but we can try to reach a settlement before then if Donna is willing to negotiate. I want her to understand the harm she caused, Keisha said. I want her to pay for what she did to my family. 3 months later, in September, they reached a settlement. Donna agreed to pay the Thompson family $50,000 for emotional distress. It was almost all the money Donna had left. She would have to sell her house to pay both the fine and the settlement. By October, a for sale sign appeared in front of Donna's house. She packed her belongings and moved to an apartment in another town. She left Oakwood Hills without saying goodbye to anyone. Nobody came to her door to wish her well. She had lost everything because of her racism and her false report. Meanwhile, the Thompson family continued to heal and grow stronger. Keisha kept going to therapy with Dr. Sarah Johnson every week. Slowly, the anxiety became easier to manage. The nightmares happened less often. She still checked the security cameras regularly, but the fear was not as overwhelming as it had been. The community group Oakwood Hills United grew larger. By November, they had 40 members. They organized a diversity training session for all police officers in Oakwood Hills. 20 officers attended, including Officer Bennett and Officer Mills, who had completed their suspensions and returned to work. Marcus spoke at the training session. He wore his uniform and told his story. He explained what it felt like to see his wife being treated as a criminal in their own driveway. He explained the fear that black families live with every day. Some officers looked uncomfortable, but some officers listened carefully and asked good questions. It was a start. Marcus also spoke at local high schools and community centers. He talked about dignity and respect. He talked about his military service and what it means to protect all citizens. Young people listened to him. Teachers thanked him for sharing his story. The triplets were young enough that they did not remember the incident clearly. They had nightmares for a few weeks after it happened. Maya did not want to leave Keisha's side for a long time. But children are resilient. With their parents' love and support, they healed. By fall, they were playing happily in their big backyard. They loved their new house. Emily Davis became a close friend to Keisha. They had coffee together once a week. Emily helped Keisha meet other families in the neighborhood. She introduced her to book clubs and playgroups. She showed Keisha that not everyone in Oakwood Hills was like Donna. George and Patricia also became good friends to the Thompson family. George helped Marcus install a fence around the backyard. Patricia brought cookies over for the children. These neighbors showed kindness and support. 2 other black families moved on to Maple Drive over the next year. They said they felt encouraged after hearing about how the Thompson family stood up for themselves and stayed in their home. Keisha welcomed both families warmly. She made sure they felt supported. By December, 6 months after the incident, the Thompson family decided to host a block party. Keisha suggested it. "I want to create new memories in our home," she said to Marcus. "Good memories. Happy memories." They planned the party for a Saturday afternoon in mid-December. The weather was cold but sunny. They set up tables in the front yard with food and drinks. Marcus grilled hamburgers and hot dogs. Keisha made potato salad and cookies. Neighbors started arriving at 2 o'clock. Emily came with a homemade pie. George came with his wife Helen. Patricia came with her husband Robert and their 2 children. The Johnsons came with their teenage son and daughter. Many other families from Maple Drive came too. Children of all backgrounds played together in the yard. They ran and laughed and chased each other. Maya, Jordan, and Isaiah played with new friends. Their laughter filled the air. Adults stood in groups talking and eating. White families, black families, Asian families, Hispanic families, all together in the Thompson family's front yard. The yard where 6 months earlier, Keisha had been grabbed by police officers while her children screamed. But today, there was no fear. Today, there was community. Keisha stood on her porch looking at everyone. Marcus came up behind her and put his arm around her shoulders. "You did this," he said softly. "You turned pain into something beautiful." Keisha leaned against him. "We did this. Together." She looked at her house with the white columns. She looked at her children playing happily. She looked at the neighbors who had become friends. She thought about everything her family had been through, the discrimination, the fear, the trauma, the fight for justice. The road ahead would still have challenges. Racism did not disappear because of one block party. But Keisha knew something important now. She knew they belonged here. This was their home. They had worked hard for it. They had fought for it. Nobody could take that away from them. "Are you happy?" Marcus asked. Keisha smiled. It was a real smile that reached her eyes. "Yes, I am." If you enjoyed today's video, I'm sure you'll love the next one. Don't waste time. Just click on the screen